Satnam, welcome everyone. All right, thanks so much for being here. I just, as time goes on, there's certain things that fade away and certain things that seem to certainly get stronger. And one of the things that, for me, gets stronger and stronger year by year is the reality of how important the meditative mind is. Thank you. And that it is quite possibly the most important human faculty that we have, the most important human asset, and among the most important human skills to cultivate and to develop. You know what I mean? The meditative mind. And that goes hand in hand, of course, with the heart of compassion. And those two things together, we could argue that our whole life should be at some level revolving around that. And that doesn't mean creating some sort of disingenuous sense of meditative mind, of course, but actually recognizing it as natural to every human being, every person. It's not something that certain people have and other people don't have, that it's a natural state of the human psyche, and that as human beings, at the very basic level, for fundamental health purposes, the meditative mind should be cultivated. Just like we say we should eat nutritious foods, and just like we say we should do the things that we know, create, make, and help a human being be healthier and happier and more vital. And not only improves the health of an individual's life, but it also is crucially important for the health of a society. And I'm curious, at what point in the evolution of our species right now, in the evolution, or hopefully the evolution of our societies, at what point do we recognize at a very fundamental level the importance of a meditative mind? I think we're certainly closer than ever, and science is helping a great deal with that. Mindfulness, meditation are certainly far less on the fringes of society than they used to be, and it's starting to become, LeBron James is doing commercials on TV for meditation apps and so forth, and which is a beautiful and amazing thing. That's not a slight on LeBron James. I love LeBron James, but just someone who is able to exist that popular in the realm of society can be fully like, here's a meditation app, try it out. That's indicative of some good progress, at least within that context. However, part of this journey, in terms of our collective consciousness, is we have to understand what it even is. Do we really understand the meditative mind at this point? I think to a certain extent we do, and I think at another level we still have a lot to learn. And each one of us individually, myself included, we still have a lot to learn. It's not like, okay, now I figured out the meditative mind. The meditative mind is how we experience reality. The meditative mind is how we discern what's real from what's not real. The meditative mind is that which gives us what the yogis call the buddhi, that deeper intelligence that allows us to discern what is always in flux and always changing versus what doesn't change. And that isn't a process that has a clear beginning point or a clear ending point. It's seemingly a forever blossoming, a forever opening up process. So when we're talking about the meditative mind, it doesn't look like any particular thing. When we're doing a meditation, that's not what the meditative mind looks like. That looks like taking care and keeping the meditative mind strong. The meditative mind is what we need to navigate through crises in our lives. The meditative mind is what we need in order to be able to adjust to big changes in the circumstances of our lives. The meditative mind is the part of our psyche that allows us to be able to see two sides of a coin, and then to be able to decide and choose for ourselves how we would like to navigate and how we would like to move in our lives versus just being pulled by the winds of the storm. And so the meditative mind is what gives a human being personal power. The meditative mind is what gives the human being connectivity to their own intuitive wisdom. The meditative mind is what allows a human being to not rely on some other human being to tell them how they should behave for themselves and how they should interact with their life for themselves. And at the same time, the meditative mind will show us when it makes quite a bit of sense to rely on or to gain help and support from other human beings in our lives. It shows us where we're strong, and it also can show us where we're weak. It shows us where we could evolve, and it shows us in other areas where we could relax. So this idea of what the meditative mind is, I think should very much be integrated into how we educate our children, even in schools. There's nothing about this that needs to be contextualized religiously or even spiritually, because it's already, in my sense, it's already innately spiritual. All of this is just innately spiritual. We don't have to go out of our way to try to make something spiritual. When the mind is able to more consistently dwell in its relaxed state, you don't have to go find spiritual. You won't be able to avoid it. And so why not make this a part of the negative psyche, the positive psyche, the neutral psyche, the quickest part of my mind that is going to respond to any circumstance that I'm interacting with. Quickest part of my mind is the negative mind. The second part of the mind that is going to respond is the positive mind. But first it's going to be the negative mind. And so particularly when the situation or the experience is a triggered one, or one that it has high potential to cause stress, then the negative mind is going to react with extra strength. And the reason why this is for good purpose. The purpose of the negative mind, because the negative mind is not innately bad. The negative mind's job is to protect. Its job is to protect me. My negative mind's job is to protect me, and particularly to protect my identity. It's the gatekeeper. The negative mind, when it's connected to the Dharma of one's energy, of one's life, the negative mind will say things like, I won't stand for that. No, thank you. The positive mind's job, and the positive mind is not innately good, just like the negative mind is not innately bad. The positive mind's job is to find opportunity and to expand. The negative mind contracts, the positive mind expands. we need both. The positive mind will say, that's what I'm all about. That's what I resonate with when it's connected to the heart of life, Dharma. So the negative and positive mind will operate in those very harmonious ways when the neutral mind, aka the meditative mind, is nice and strong. For many people, though, if we do not cultivate that neutralization of the psyche, meditative awareness, then our lives end up too often being a roller coaster ride between a very aggressive negative mind and then a very aggressive positive mind, going back and forth like a pendulum swinging. So without that neutralization of the energy in the body and thus the energy of the psyche, it's very difficult to live with joy in life, because we'll feel really good when things are going really well, and then we'll feel poorly when things are very difficult. But if I have a meditative energy that I've cultivated over time, and it takes work, and it takes consistency, and it takes commitment. But if I have that type of meditative awareness that I've worked very hard to build over time, then it's there to serve me. And even when things are very difficult, I don't lose joy. I don't lose love. I don't lose heart. I don't lose purpose. That's the glory of meditative mind. That's the glory of Dharma. Because when that meditative mind becomes more stabilized and stronger, it guides your negative, it guides your positive, rather consistently. All the time? No. But consistently enough to where your life never gets too far off track. And that's why we say once a day, take care of your life force. Once a day, take care of your mind. Bring it into its meditative space. Experience shunya, where the body, the mind, and the electromagnetic field come to a neutralized point. They call that shunya, zero. So that's our objective for the evening, is even for just a few moments by the time we're done, we come to at least a relative experience of shunya, neutralization, where the mind, the body, and the energy system comes into a harmonious point together. And that harmonious point together puts you into a harmony with a greater biorhythm of life's intelligence. We call that nature. And so when our energy and the energy of nature start to be in some sort of a rhythmic harmony together, we start to experience a deeper sense of joy and purpose in our lives that can carry us even in the most difficult of times. Even the most difficult times make us love deeper, make us feel more devotional energy in our hearts, give us even greater compassion for the suffering that others are experiencing, and allows us to just be very genuine, kind, real human beings, no excess necessary, no fluff necessary. And, occasionally we may lose a sense of it some, but if we have a good practice, we can always continue to bring ourselves back into that. That's what the Life Force Academy is all about. That's why we created it, for this ongoing process of ever deepening into greater kindness, greater compassion, greater realness, greater joy, greater lightness, greater enjoyment of life. And that has an infinite variety of expressions. For every person, it expresses itself slightly differently because you have a unique energy about you. You have unique likes and dislikes. You love certain types of music and art and film and books that is slightly different than any other person in the world. Your unique taste and sensibility and intelligence. is different than every single other person on the planet. And the same for me and every other person. And that's incredible. That's how important you are. That's how valuable you are. And so when we realize that each one of us is immensely and immeasurably valuable, then we have more impetus and more inspiration to take care, protect, and expand that which is so valuable. And each one of us is important, and each one of us is needed. And therefore it comes with that awareness and experience comes with a certain responsibility. And in part, that responsibility expresses itself as taking care of your vehicle, the mind, the body, and then having the vitality and energy to do what you're here to do. That's yoga, that's Ayurveda. All right, let's tune in together and let's do some yoga. Bring your hands to prayer pose and inhale deeply.